All right, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about the Moto One 5G and let's click over here, the A52 5G. Now these are two devices that are being sold under Metro by T-Mobile and also the T-Mobile website itself. But we're going to talk about just actually the variants are exactly the same when it comes to T-Mobile and Metro by T-Mobile. The Metro T-Mobile models in both phones, to be very clear, has 6 gigs of RAM. So 128, 6 gigs of RAM is the standard. This is the model that we'll be talking about. I'm not too sure about the Moto that came in different models. It did. Actually, it came in a 64 gig model, which the Metro version, again, has 128 gigabytes. So let's specify that right now before we even move forward in this video. Now, when you look at the price, this is one of the things that I talk to people about all the time when it comes to phones, because you tend to want something that works better overall. And it's impossible to know that unless you've actually tested a device. Or if you look at a device's history, typically you can tell how the performance is going to be to a certain extent. Can't always do that, but sometimes you can. So first thing we're going to talk about is price. Under Metro by T-Mobile, the phone is $500, $499 or $504, basically $499 to own outright if we're talking about T-Mobile. It's $249 as the new line if you have an ID, and it's $199 as a port for Metro by T-Mobile. Then it's $399 as a upgrade. On the other hand, you have the Metro device, which I'm just talking about the Metro pricing right now. Even though we're looking at this website, the Metro pricing is entirely different. Now, the Moto actually originally was a $400, $399 phone, which under Metro PCS, the phone is about, I think, $250 something or $270 something straight out. It's $29 as a port if you're bringing your phone to another carrier. When I say a port, we're talking about like Cricket, AT&T, Sprint doesn't exist anymore, Verizon, not Simple Mobile, not I'm not sure what network Mint Mobile uses, but any company that doesn't use the T-Mobile network, you're eligible for that deal. New line, it'll be $89, and I think it's like $179 as an upgrade. If you're just doing a regular upgrade, you're already a Metro customer. Now, what matters in these phones to me are the specs. See, for me, I do a lot of gaming, Call of Duty, not so much Genshin Impact because these phones can handle it, but on the lowest setting. Not on, so you'll get choppy graphics. It'll still look decent. You'll still get your spotty lag from here and there, but for the most part, you're going to need a better phone in order to play more higher end intensive games. But this can handle Call of Duty, War of the Visions, Final Fantasy War of the Visions, and some other titles. Actually, let me name a few, just since I'm doing an informative video. Let me not. Okay, let's see what this game is called. Yeah, so Call of Duty, War of the Visions, Final Fantasy. Obviously, it can handle Pokemon Go. What else? Phone apps is there? We'll get back to the phone apps. Anyway, it can handle quite a few games, right? Now, the most defining feature, in my opinion, about these two phones is that the Samsung phone is using a Super AMOLED screen with 120 hertz and 800 nits. Now, 800 nits isn't a super bright phone, because I know the Galaxy Notes are like the 1300 or 1500, one of the two. Don't quote me, but it is up there. While the Moto, I don't even think they even tell you what the Moto is, to be honest. But the Moto is very low. Even though the PPI isn't too much of a difference, it's a huge difference when you look at the phones because it's a Super AMOLED screen. It's substantial better quality on the Samsung A52 screen, if that's what you're looking for, and it's going to be a much brighter phone. Now, I personally don't turn the brightness up in my phones because I have glasses. My eyes are bad, but for some people, if they want a screen that's going to work better in sunlight, it's definitely going to be the Samsung A52, especially if you're in bright sunlight at the beach, you don't have an umbrella, or, just give me a little example. It's going to work better. The A52 comes with Android 11 standard, while the Moto is still on Android 10. Now, I do suspect that it's going to get Android 11 eventually, probably toward its end life cycle, like a lot of the phones do. But the A52 is guaranteed 3 years worth of software updates and Android updates. So meaning you'll get Android 12, Android 13, whatever it's called, Android 14, just like 3 years worth. But you know what? Honestly, I don't think they even come out with a new Android every year. So let me resend that. You will get 3 years worth of updates on the phone. So you're getting Android 12, probably 13 when it comes out at least. While the Moto is probably only going to get 11. Be honest with you, the Moto is kind of one of those phones where if you're concerned about software, you're going to end up buying a mid-tier phone every year. So up until last year with the A51, Samsung actually they didn't really do software updates. It's the A52 that they're promising it on now. So that's one of the reasons to kind of look at this phone and say, you know what? Well, I don't want to buy a phone next year. I just want to make sure that my phone stays up to date. Again, they have this practically the same processor, 752. You look at the specs right here. I mean, the GPU, it's practically the same. Let's see. Let's double check, make sure 570. Yeah, it's the same thing. So to be honest, you're going to get the same performance in terms of gaming on this phone and just everyday usage. Now, this is where everything differentiates. Because the Samsung has that 120 hertz screen, which you do have the option to turn it down to 60. I wouldn't, because it really makes your phone underperform if you do. It's meant to be on 120 hertz. Boy, the performance, the speeds of just going through apps, swiping through the screens is so much easier on the eyes. When you play games, they run substantially smoother. It's just a better experience all around on the phone. Processing power is going to be the same. Performance in apps are going to be the same for the most part. But I cannot stress enough that that screen is beautiful on the A52. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Let's scroll down. Actually, no, let's talk about this one too. This one is IP67. So you will be able to, your phone will be able to take a little beating when it comes to a rain and a rainstorm. I don't suggest submerging it because who has a reason to do that? But if it falls in the toilet or something happens, you can pull your phone out, you'll be fine. With the Moto, mm, again, it's water repelling coating. So it can take a beating in the rain. You can have your phone out in inclement weather where there's water. Dipping it in the toilet, if it drops, if it falls underneath the sink, I'm sure it'll survive because I had an older Metro device where it was before the G Stylus, as a matter of fact, and I dropped the phone. It was outside. As a matter of fact, with the G7 Play. As a matter of fact, I'm glad I got the name. And I was out. I couldn't find my phone for like 20 minutes. Went outside, pouring rain. I couldn't even see. I had to take my glasses off. I found the phone, picked it up. There were no internal issues whatsoever. I just wiped it off and kept going. So most phones do have some type of water resistance, even though it doesn't say it. But again, it's not something that I would suggest you should ever try on yourself. When we talk about the cameras, it can record. The A52 can actually record in 60 frames, but only under 1080p. While the Moto can't. It can only do 30 frames. Whether it's in, oh no, I'm sorry. Actually, it can. I don't know why I was thinking of the Moto G stylus. So they can record in the same specifications for the most part. But I will say that the A52 camera is better. It's way better. Its focus is better. It's a better phone. I've actually recorded YouTube videos with the A52, a couple of them, and it was easier. The focus was much better, especially when it came to showing certain specifications on the box of a phone or showing the settings of the phone. It did come out better. Um, One of the issues, which we're going to scroll down here real fast, I had with the A52 versus the Moto is that the A52's battery life is worse. It has a smaller battery and it's worse. But, it's the big one. It does support 25-watt charging. And just similar to the iPhone, 30 minutes will give you 50% battery life. While with the Moto, no, it only supports 15 watt. Now, I am using a 25 watt Samsung battery charger. And to be honest, I am seeing slightly improved speeds. I'm going to switch back to my Motorola charger just to be safe because I don't want to burn out the phone or anything. But again, most phones to me should have at least 25 watt or at least 30 watt charging, similar to OnePlus with the WAP charging. Hell, even 18-watt charging seems to be more ideal. But again, It's a budget device. So in order to keep the price low, that's why the Motorola screen on this particular phone isn't very high end. That's why it doesn't support wireless charging, or I mean, A52 doesn't support wireless charging either, but that's why the wattage charging, you're paying more money when you up certain specs. And Motorola, I will say, has done an amazing job of making mid-tier phones that are affordable for carriers, like penny to the dollar when you switch over. While Samsung, again, this phone is $199 if you port from a network, $249 at the new line, $500 straight out if you're not eligible for an upgrade, or if you're just buying it unlocked. While the Motorola, you can get this phone for $200 something dollars. So again, it's the same processor, it's the same amount of RAM in the US. You're going to get the same performance in terms of processing power, but that 120 hertz screen does make the difference, and it makes your experience just going through the phone so much smoother on the A52. Now, what the A52 doesn't have that the Moto 1 5G Ace, this name is ridiculous. What this phone does have is the fingerprint on the Moto is extremely accurate. I'll say about 95% of the time you're going to get your phone unlocked. The A52 over here uses a on-screen fingerprint where you see the cursor is, and it's not accurate at all. It's a terrible, terrible fingerprint. It's as bad. It's not worse than the A51s, because that one was beyond bad. Honestly, I'm going to say that it is as bad, because when I tried out the S21, it seems like Samsung decided to make their fingerprints worse on their phones. And I don't know why they did that, because I know with the Note series, the S8, the S9, I never had a fingerprint problem. Never had it. I skipped the S10. I did use the S10 Plus for a little bit, just before I started a YouTube channel. And the fingerprint was pretty accurate. Like I know the Note 8 had the Retina display along with the Face Unlock and a few other features, and it's like Samsung is taking away some features and they're not upgrading on your experience on unlocking the phone. Now, if you had a OnePlus, the on-screen fingerprint has been amazing. Also, just to throw this in there, OnePlus phones can actually unlock, like the OnePlus N10 5G, which is also under T-Mobile Metro. We throw that in there. Can actually unlock your phone in the dark. Try it if you have the phone. You can actually sit in a dark room, turn the light out in the bathroom, hold the phone to your face. It will unlock your phone. Same, just like as with the same accurate speeds as the iPhone 11, 12, 10 XR. It unlocks your phone. Anyway, that phone is in this category. In truth, I should have added this into the phone. Actually, you know what? I am going to add this into the phone. I'm going to talk to you about the it's called OnePlus N10 5G. I might just throw this into comparison. I know I'm like 13 minutes in, but for anyone seeing this video, guess what? You got a third phone that you could take a look at and compare. So the thing about the OnePlus N10, which I also have this device. Well, I used to have this device. I used it. I'm going to get another one just for review purposes. And it supports 30-watt charging. And the OnePlus does have they're the only ones that have the warp charging. You can get 0 to 70% in 30 minutes. That's how phones should be, especially mid-tier. Like, that's a game changer to me that they're able to do that. Again, the only problem with this phone is that it starts off at Android 10. It'll probably get the 11 update eventually. It actually has a higher pixel density than the Motos. Like, Motorola phones have awful screens when you compare them to the competition. But again, they tend to have decent processors, and the phone can manage the battery life very well. It's actually a feature in the settings that helps you with that. Excuse me. It's a Snapdragon 690, while the others are Snapdragon 750s. And you may say, well, it's not that huge of a difference. If I use my phone every day, I should be fine. And you're right. Every day, users won't see a huge performance drop. And oh yeah, also this phone does have 90 hertz, so let's not forget about that. It's a 90 hertz phone, so it's much smoother. But I notice little lag here and there with switching between applications. Like if I switch out of Call of Duty, it'll give me a 1 second lag. Then it'll finally swap out. Or if I'm swapping between multiple games, because I do stress tests on the phones to see if multiple apps can run at the same time and kind of stress the processor. It did lag in that aspect and it did get a little warm. But I can honestly say that if we're talking about performance, the Moto is going to be the better overall phone than both of these. No, I'm sorry. A52 and the Moto are going to be the top choices for me. If we're talking about processor speed, and you're the type of person where, you know what, I want to um, play games on my phone, I want to be able to do ABCD, upload videos, yada yada. They're all three of them are 5G. Let's be very clear, all three are 5G. Um, the OnePlus and the Samsung are going to have the better and sharper screen with the better colors. The OnePlus is going to have the fastest charging out of both of them, no contest. Um, the thinner phone, OnePlus. Speaker wise, I'm going to say the OnePlus speaker is going to be better than the A. You know what? The A52 had a pretty good speaker, but I'm going to say that the A52 and the OnePlus are going to have the better speakers out of the three. But if, again, I listen to everything through Bluetooth or I use a headphone jack, I don't listen to anything with my regular speaker unless I'm on speakerphone. And I have to be honest, I don't know who listens to the speaker out loud. If you do, go buy yourself a Bluetooth speaker because it's 2021 and we should be mindful of other people. They all have 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs. All three phones come with 128 gigs internally. They're all under Metro PCS and T-Mobile as a carrier. Adreno 619. Processor's not going to be that much difference. Yes, these two, the One Ace and the A52, are going to have a better processor, especially for gaming. You're going to notice it if you download something like Genshin Impact, and then you download that on the Moto or the A52. Oh boy, you're going to see a difference. Same with Black Desert and a few other titles. But Black Desert Mobile, for anyone that wants to know about that phone, that game, it is on a mobile game. It's a mobile gaming app. Sorry, I'm all over the place. But um, the only downside is, no, it's not a downside. They all support 4K. I will say that the OnePlus and the Samsung, to me, have better cameras than the Moto. But again, price-wise, this phone is about two something, 250, 269, I believe, under Metro PCS. It has it's I think it's $109 at the new line, $49 at the port in, and I want to say $199 as an upgrade. So you are paying a little bit more money for this, even though it has worse specs. Remember, OnePlus to me is a more trusted brand at this point than Motorola because they really came out with the fast charging. Put it this way, they get more press than Motorola. Motorola hasn't really had a flagship phone or anything in years. They tried it and they just stick to the mid-tier market. Don't become the next LG Motorola. You don't know what you're doing. But OnePlus has had better phones over the recent years, so it's a more trusted brand, and you know what happens when brands are trusted more. Guess what? Prices go up. So again, if you're into speed of battery life, camera, OnePlus is for you. The Nord N10 5G. If you're into the best battery life and you want performance, and I mean, again, the screen is only like 60 hertz, but if you're okay with that, I mean, if you use an iPhone, 60 hertz is perfectly fine. But the iPhone performance compared to a Moto is obviously way different, and you're going to still have a sharper screen on the iPhone, and your apps are going to run better. It's better optimized, so that's why you have a better experience sometimes on iPhones than Androids, and that's why some people don't mind 120 hertz. But if you're looking for just a stable phone with a decent camera, decent battery life, sturdy device, Moto's the way to go. That's what I'm using right now, as a matter of fact. Eventually, I'll switch to the N10 5G just to do a review on that one. If you're looking for a phone that has going to get you at least 3 years worth of software updates, similar to the Pixel, where it's going to have, this phone is going to have the best longevity, the A52. You'll get years worth of updates, software updates, carrier updates. They're going to take care of you. If there's an issue with the phone with an update, guess what? They're going to fix that. Especially given the fact that this is probably going to be one of Samsung's most popular phones for the mid-tier market, because the A51 last year was, and that wasn't a great phone. And this one looks premium. It feels premium. It has that like matte back finish. For Metro, they only give you the black color, but it's a beautiful looking phone. I can't stress that enough. Like if you're talking about cosmetics, the OnePlus is nice looking too. The Moto looks cheap. It feels cheap, but it does come in black. So this gray color you won't be getting under Metro, and it does look way better under black. But the A52 feels and looks like it's a premium counterparts like the S20. To me it looks better than the S20 FE, the fan edition, which I don't know why that exists. Especially with, I mean, the processor's good on it, but that's as far as we're going. But they all have their pros and cons. If price is the issue, Moto 1. You'll get that 750G. If style and looks and fast charging is your thing and you still want a 90 hertz display, so you'll be in the middle ground, OnePlus. If you want all the features minus a decent fingerprint, because the face unlock is good on the Samsung, but the fingerprint's awful. And given that COVID is out there, you're going to have problems unlocking this phone. I know you are. I did. I had it on the A51, A52. My wife had a problem. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to get rid of the phone, and I did, because the fingerprint's horrible. But everything else is fine. So again, I rambled long enough for this video. If you have any comments, like, subscribe. If I forgot something or some type of comparison, hey, constructive criticism is the best. So, see you in the next video.